As Gladys Mungai with details of the fresh calls for action as investigations continue.
Kempsa Chief Executive Officer Jonah Manjari, while appearing before Senate committee on Friday, probing the alleged loss of funds at Kempsa, made a damning revelations directly linking the Health Cabinet Secretary NPS in the debacle at Kempsa. Barely 48 hours after his revelations, stakeholders in the medical field are demanding that the duo steps aside to pave way for investigations into their perceived role in the scandal. Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General Seth Panyako is pointing an accusing finger at Kagwe for allegedly failing to protect the interest of the healthcare workers.
CEO ametuambia vizuri kwamba yeye pamoja na Mochache ndio walikuwa wanaweka pressure mpaka siku moja wakaenda huko wakasema wasipofanya vile wanavyotaka wanatoa kampuni, peana hii kampuni Samburi na uwapatie na pesa hizi. Alafu yeye anasema hakuhusika. Pesa imetumika vizuri. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, kama Kakwe hata jiuzulu kufikia Jumatatu na Mochache, ajisha hao kazi, wasirudi ofisini kwa sababu wataharibu uchunguzi.
But as medics demand for the ouster of the duo, in the church the clergy lashed out at those allegedly stealing from the sick in the wake of the pandemic. The dress down by men of the cloth coming in the wake of reports that millions of shillings could have been lost through fraudulent procurement procedures in the acquisition of critical supplies meant to fight coronavirus pandemic.
Ninyi muliwaua na mtalipa maisha hayo binguni. If you stole the money, medical money, we see the COVID-19 money, people dying. Those people who have died, you killed them. You are a murderer. You are worse than those who kill with a bullet or a gun, because you killed the father of a child who depended on him. You killed the mother of a child who depended on her. You killed the person who the church depended on, and you killed those people. You are a murderer, and we should not baptize, we should not sanitize the terminologies we use on the evil in our society today.
According to the clergy, Kenyans are slowly losing faith in those entrusted with their resources.
Justice of God is never delayed. It will be timely and we shall pay. I want to let you know. Hata kama si hivi karibuni, lakini ni lazima tutalipa hiyo trust ambayo tulivunja kwa wale ambao waliweza kuweka imani kwetu.
The Senate is expected to complete its work and present its finding within 21 days. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
And Deputy President William Ruto is warning those propagating political and personal interest in the push for constitutional changes to give priority to the needs of the people. Meanwhile, Migori County Deputy Governor Mahanga Mwita has defended his boss, Governor Kodho Bado, saying the 73 million shillings alleged to have been misappropriated will not affect operations at the county government.
Deputy President William Ruto attended a church service at AIC Pipeline in Embakasi, South Nairobi, where he questioned the motive behind the push for a constitutional review. Ruto challenged the proponents of a constitutional review to prioritize the needs of Kenyans.
Sisi wote tukiwa pamoja, roho ya ubinafsi isituingie. Tujue ya kwamba yale tunafanya, yale tunapendekeza, yale tunatarajia isiwe ni mambo ya kibinafsi ya viongozi. Tujue Kenya kuna Wakenya milioni 45.
The DP says the COVID-19 crisis had led to many Kenyans suffering, an issue he says needs urgent attention from the country's leadership.
And even as we go into the future, we must carry the whole country as we make the decisions that we are going to make. And I want to agree that we must move together.
Ruto also assured parents that the government would only reopen learning institutions after extensive consultation with health experts. MPs allied to the Deputy President demanded government officials implicated in the COVID-19 fund scandal to resign from office.
People must now take what they told others to do. They must take political responsibility. If you have been mentioned as having given illegal instructions, don't tell us like those who told us before that they would rather die than resign. Please leave public office.
Meanwhile, Migori County Deputy Governor Mahanga Mwita has defended his boss, Governor Obado, saying the 73 million shillings in question was not substantial enough to dent the county government.
The kind of corruption figures that people talk about is not what we are hearing that caused his arrest. We are yet to hear the figures that would really worry the people of Migori, to the extent of imagining that could have caused a development dent.
Governor Obado and 9 others, including his 4 children, were on Thursday charged with 28 counts of economic crimes, money laundering, and conflict of interest for fraudulently acquiring 73.4 million shillings from the county government of Migori. And 5 former lawmakers from Mount Kenya region have reaffirmed their support for President Uhuru Kenyatta as the region's political kingpin. Led by former Murang'a Senator Kembi Getora, the group says the region should not engage in early campaigns, but should wait for President Kenyatta to give a political direction.
The president has been preaching. Anybody who cares to listen to the president and will listen to him has said that the biggest legacy that he wants to leave is a united country, people talking in the same language, people saying the same thing, people with a common vision, and that is the vision for the future of our country. So I'm very proud to say that we had a very fruitful meeting, and that we shall continue to perpetuate and to propagate these meetings so that we can reach more people and we can talk in one voice without being made to fear. People putting fear into us of who we are or what we stand for.
Tunaunga mkono uongozi wa Rais Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na wote ambao wanafanya kazi nao, kuanzia waziri wa afya, kuanzia wajumbe wa bunge ambao hata wengine walitengwa, ambao tunajua ilikuwa ni kisirani kwa watu wengine ambao walipendelea kutawala kwa kifua, kunyakua uongozi. Uongozi haunyakuliwi. Uongozi unapeana na Maulana, anasema huyu ndiye, alafu sisi kama wazee tunasema natosha.
Kevin Washira, Channel 1 News.
And at Tasha67, you're saying that you are looking forward to the show Family Matters KBC. Thank you so much. We have Paul Jabali on Twitter. You're saying you're tuned in from Wote, Machakos County, Makueni County. And Dennis Shark, you tuned in from Nakuru County. And someone else, Miss Lelgo, you're saying you're tuned in from County 035. Thank you so much. Keep talking to us tonight. We host Makueni County Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana on the county's response to COVID-19 and as well preparedness. So the hashtag to use tonight is Family Matters KBC. You can tag me, Purity_Museo, and KBC Channel 1 News. Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa says she is ready to appear in court on Monday in connection to a 57 million shillings graft case. Jumwa, who spoke in Mombasa after visiting the Port Police Station, denied claims that she was in hiding, saying that she was away in Nairobi when she was summoned in court. Director of Public Prosecutions Nurdin Haji on Thursday ordered the arrest of Jumwa and 6 others in connection with alleged mismanagement of funds at the Malindi Constituency Development Fund.
On Sunday, Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa presented herself at the Port Police Station after Mombasa court ordered her to do so before Monday. The legislator denying allegations that she was hiding after she failed to present herself to court on Friday alongside her 6 co-accused.
Mimi sidhani kama kuna mtu amenitafuta because simu yangu ilikuwa iko wazi. Nilikuwa Nairobi, sijakuwa Tanzania wala Uganda, nimekuwa Kenya, nimekuja hapa jana usiku. Kwa hivyo siyasikia habari za kwamba mimi natafutwa. Kila nimesikia kwa jaji alisema mimi niwe kotini siku ya Jumatatu. Kuogopa kushikwa?
As in, kwa nini niogope kushikwa? Kama nimefanya kosa nahitaji kushikwa, mimi ni Mkenya kama kawaida. Sheria inalinda kila mmoja. Na sheria lazima ni msumeno, inakata kwa waheshimiwa, kwa wale ambao si waheshimiwa, sisi wote ni Wakenya.
Jumwa, who said that she was in Nairobi when the order was issued, now says she's ready to present herself in court on Monday alongside her lawyers.
Kule hakukuwa na story. Tulikuwa tunajitayarisha na mambo ya kesho. Kwa sababu kila mtu anajua kwamba mimi kesho ama koti ilitoa directives za kwamba kesho nitokelezee kotini. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tumekuja kupanga, taratibu zote zimefuatwa. We are ready for tomorrow.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji, on Thursday ordered the arrest of Jumwa and 6 others in connection to mismanagement of the Malindi Constituency Development Fund. On Friday, 6 co-accused persons in Jumwa's case, that is Wachu Abdallah, Kennedy Onyango, Bernard Kai, Sophia Charo, Margaret Kalume and Robert Wanje, were arraigned before Mombasa Chief Magistrate Edna Nyaloti, where they were charged with 13 offences, including forgery, fraud in procurement and money laundering. They denied all the charges leveled against them and were each released on a 10 million shillings bond with surety of a similar amount or an alternative cash bail of 5 million shillings. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And on the coronavirus daily update, the country's COVID-19 caseload surged past the 34,000 mark after 263 people tested positive in the latest data from the Ministry of Health. The death toll rather increased to 574 after 2 more people succumbed barely 2 days after the country reported no fatalities from the virus. Nancy Okware with details of the COVID-19 prevalence rate.
5 months after the country reported its first case of COVID-19, the numbers continue to rise, with the latest figures indicating 34,057 persons have tested positive for the deadly virus in the country so far. The Ministry of Health confirming on Sunday 263 new cases emanating from 4,424 samples tested. In the latest data, the youngest person to test positive is a 1-year-old child, while the oldest is an 83-year-old. Nairobi continued to lead with the number of new infections at 81, followed by Kiambu with 26, Embu 20, Makueni 18, Nakuru 15, Nyeri 13, while Taita Taveta and Busia each had 10 cases. The number of recoveries also increased to 19,688 after 98 patients recovered. 79 of those who recovered were from the home care program and 19 from the various health facilities. The death toll continued to rise with 2 more patients succumbing to the virus, bringing the death toll to 574. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
Still on COVID, the government has been urged to weigh in its strategies before reopening schools, even as new COVID-19 infections appear to dip. Matungulu Member of Parliament Stephen Mule says the safety of Kenyan children should be prioritized, even as the push to have schools reopen intensify.
With the school calendar having been disrupted for the last 6 months, questions as to when the country's schools will reopen abound. But amid the push to have them reopened, Matungulu Member of Parliament Stephen Mule, who was speaking during a Sunday service at Katuanya AIC in Matungulu, called on the Education Ministry to remain cognizant of the need to protect school-going children and their teachers.
Tuache kutapatapa kufikiria ati namba za corona zimeteremka, tunaweza amka tukifungua shule. Profesa Magoa, lazima ukue makini kabisa kuhakikisha watoto wetu hawarudi shule wakakuwa wagonjwa. Kwa hivyo kama inji lazima tuangalie mikakati yote ya kufungua shule imewekwa sambamba, na wakati utapofika sisi kama Wakenya tutaamua watoto wafunguliwe shule.
The calls coming as Busia woman representative Florence Mutua expressed concern over increased cases of defilement and rape across the country during the coronavirus pandemic. Mutua says the judiciary should expedite such cases to ensure victims of the atrocities get justice, even as she called on parents and guardians not to spare perpetrators of such atrocities, even when they are close family members.
because people are dying. People don't even have masks. Sasa hiyo pesa unakula ya watu wanakufa, hiyo inakuletea faida gani? Huyu ni mtu alimelaaniwa. But we hope that the sheria will be taken. Hawa watu washikwe. Hata hizo accounts zao zikuwe frozen kwanza, kitambo wapelekwe kotini. Ndio hiyo pesa irudishwe kwa Wakenya.
Meanwhile, Korea West Member of Parliament Matthias Roby has questioned the number of COVID-19 positive cases in the country, arguing that the figures do not add up. The legislator has called on the government to come out clean on the number of infections.
Na namba tumesikia inaenda chini. Kwa hivyo nataka kuambia hata rais afungulie wananchi wafanye kazi zao. Kwa sababu watu wanakufa kwa manyumba. Kuna maskini, kuna yule mtu hata hawezi pata shilingi 100 ya Kenya.
Beatrice Gatonyingetich, Channel 1 News.
In other news, about 1,500 of the 4,600 staff at Kenya Airways risk losing their jobs in a planned downsizing exercise. Kenya Airline Pilots Association, Kenya Aviation Workers Union, and Central Organization of Trade Union have faulted the planned action, whose proponents say is aimed at returning the national carrier back to profitability.
A storm is brewing at the national carrier Kenya Airways amid reports that the company plans to downsize about 1,500 out of the 4,600 staff members. The Kenya Airline Pilot Association, Kenya Aviation Workers Union, and Central Organization of Trade Union opposing the move, terming the planned action as misguided. The unions instead calling for a review of performance for those at the helm of the company.
There has been a cumulative loss of 102 billion, and this is spanning over the 6 years. And this has been brought about by the inefficiencies and short-sightedness in a market where our competitors are growing and thriving. And this is at a time when employees for the last 5 months have taken a sacrifice of up to 81% of their pay.
Looking at the board, or the board chairman and the CEO and the top managers, these are people that lack the loyalty, the commitment to the future and success of Kenya Airways as an airline.
Led by COTU Deputy Secretary General Ernest Nadomi, the unions are calling for the resignation of the company's top management.
The entire board of KQ and the top management should tender their resignation immediately. They should. And once they have tendered their resignation, the government needs to move in. The investigative agencies.
The group arguing that problems at the national carrier cannot be blamed on the company's annual wage bill.
If the wage bill of employees is 13 billion, and they have debts amounting to 1 or 2 billion, even a kindergarten kid will not focus on the wage bill.
Declaring workers redundant is an exercise that has been going on since 2004. Every 4 years, there has been a retrenchment. Every 4 years to date. That has not changed the problems in Kenya Airways.
The downsizing of Kenya Airways will guarantee job losses in the thousands, both within and by extension. Kenya Airways staff continue to sacrifice their wages in an effort to counter the ongoing retrenchments within the company.
Global's aviation industry is taking a hit, courtesy of coronavirus pandemic, with the fortunes of the national carrier receiving a battering affecting KQ's recovery plan. Well, according to CALPA and COTU, downsizing the number of staff of about 1,500 out of 4,600 will not salvage the situation in the sector, but instead they are calling for reforms from top management. For Channel 1 News, I'm Serafina Robbie.
We're now taking our first commercial break. Thank you so much for those tweeting and asking a lot of questions regarding Makueni County. I'm sure Professor will be answering them. Real Lasha, thank you. You tuned in from Kisii County. And then we also have Crisco Lekaken. You tuned in from Kajiado County. Peter Kariuki, you're also watching Channel 1 Weekend from Thika. Thank you so much. We're taking a first commercial break. Don't go too far. Plenty more to come. Stay with us.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
Stop, Queen Dharma!
See, Father, take a look. It all happened just because of me, only because of me. The poison was for me, and I suggested that this tradition should be stopped. It should be stopped.
Don't worry, my son. Everyone is trying to save him.
Next on.
From now on, nothing is going to be the same.
Are you talking about us?
Yes, about us, Roxana, Diego, and the baby that is on its way. I don't know what to do.
I just don't want to be a problem for you.
In love with Ramon.
Good people of the 254 and beyond.
Tell a friend to tell a friend, the legendary show is on, baby.
Absolutely. Music concert.
Pull it up. And it's a feeling in my heart.
Top model.
With it, group drop.
This vibes plus so much more. Join us
every Monday at 10 p.m., baby.
KBC, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, is broadcasting enhanced out-of-class learning on radio, television, and online. Catch the lessons every weekday on KBC Channel 1 from 2 to 4 p.m., on KBC English Service and 15 FM from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Radio Taifa from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. KBC English Service, Radio Taifa, and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Channel 1 Weekend. A multi-agency team constituted to investigate claims of environmental degradation by clinker brick factories and quarries based in Kokotoni area in Kilifi County has commenced operations with site visits. The plight of the local community had earlier been highlighted by the public broadcaster KBC, as Ann Buru now reports.
This team, comprising of officers from the National Environment Management Authority, health officials and the national government administrators led by the Rabai Assistant County Commissioner, were in Kokotoni area to investigate claims of environmental degradation. Their mission revealing the extent of pollution in the area that has now seen some of the companies accused of crimes partially halt operations on that particular day. At Sangani, managers of the company were taken to task to explain their processes in a session that exposed loopholes in the company's operations.
That is a collective agenda. But for specific... Each and every time.
team would visit 2 other companies where the media was not allowed entry, an obtaining situation that angered Kokotoni Public Participation Chair.
Hapa maneno yanayozungumzwa na Neema si maneno ya sawa. Leo wamerudi wakitaka tukae karibu angalau tuweze kuwasikiza kuna endelea nini, hawataki. Hata waandishi wa habari pia wanawekwa nje. Sasa kinachozungumzwa huko ndani ambacho wananchi hawatakani wakijue ni kitu gani?
The residents accusing relevant government authorities of doing little to address their concerns.
Kama mfanya kuja biashara huko benye chini sisi hapa, halafu sisi kufe mwe biashara kwa mzima. Kwa nini? Kwa sikusoma kwa vipi? Mimi nataka anondowe. Kwa kuna serikali ya kusaidia binadamu, anashiao mwambieni mmondowe, heba nilipe naondoke.
Hali inayotendeka tunaiona sio hali ya haki. Hiyo hali tunaiona kwamba tunaomba serikali yetu ya Kenya, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, tafadhali ingilia hili jambo la Kokotoni ulimalize.
After the tour, the fact-finding mission remained mum on its findings as well as its next course of action. For Channel 1 News Hour Weekend from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
Thank you so much, Ann Mburu. Elsewhere, it has been a new normal for the country ever since the coronavirus pandemic was first reported, occasioning a host of adjustments, including disruption of the education calendar. The decision to suspend learning has presented a unique challenge, with some institutions adopting technology as they struggle to surmount the bottlenecks. But amid the disruptions, a young information technology student at a local university has developed an application software that he says can be the best solution yet to the e-learning challenge in the country. Yusuf Farah reports.
The coronavirus pandemic continues to disrupt normal life as we know it. The new normal nowadays involving working from home, sanitizing and maintaining social distances in public places. The education sector being one of the most hard-hit sectors in the country, classes now turned into empty lecture halls. Education CS Professor George Magoha highlighting on the need to adopt online learning as the only adequate response to the challenges in the education sector presented by the pandemic. They say that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It is a proverbial phrase that seems to have prompted Fabrice Mugabe, a fourth-year Bachelor of Business and Information Technology student at Zitech University, into action after the country witnessed disruptions occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. When the education calendar was disrupted, Fabrice embarked on a journey to develop an application software that would provide e-learning options for its end users. Dubbed Mogra School Academy, the online learning platform for primary, secondary, higher education and professional development institutions, provides a platform for learners, instructors and learning managers for a secured and integrated learning system. Fabrice says he was motivated to develop the application so as to enhance delivery and quality of education in the country while easing access to quality education to all learners.
I did it because people have different backgrounds of education. But with Moga School, you can access quality education wherever you are at any time.
The application, currently in use at Noor Academy located in the city's Pangani area, has among other features an interactive whiteboard, live classes and certified courses complete with an administrator, instructor and student dashboard.
This is what happens when you come to the dashboard.
Here, Fabrice is logging into the application as the teacher.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Once logged in, a code is shared to the students who use it to join the session. A few meters from where Fabrice is seated, Scholastica Kivinya is following the class on her laptop. In the hallway, Victor Kibet, another student, is also following proceedings from his phone. According to Fabrice, the application has the capacity to hold up to 1,000 students at the same time.
You can hold as many classes as you can. You can create the breakout rooms. You can even record from morning to evening. You can do whatever you want with my application. Now again, it has a whiteboard inside. The video quality is Ultra HD. You see someone very clearly.
For Scholastica and Victor, the interaction with the application has been welcome news.
It is a good application. You can interact with your lecturers, ask any question in case of NRSing issues. It has good features, and where you can be able to communicate with the fellow students and the lecturer.
Okay, I follow it with a phone, and it has good features, and it does help us to study. It does help us to interact with other students and lecturers. Digital learning is a way to go.
Fabrice hopes that he will attract more investors as he hopes to enhance the functionalities of the application software.
In terms of funding, my university has helped me a lot, and I'm looking forward to work with many investors, either from public or private sectors, because the innovation is not just doing an application. Innovation is just more of interacting with people and funding, and you make it huge.
The local innovation that can see end users access critical learning materials and allow parents and guardians to monitor their learners' progress at a cost of 500 shillings a month, a testament that the country has the capacity to provide homemade solutions that, if well utilized, can help it get to the next level in development. For Fabrice Mugabe, it is his hope that the application will not only be used during these challenging times of coronavirus, but past the pandemic as well. Reporting for Channel 1 News, my name is Yusuf Farah.
Thank you so much, Yusuf Farah, for that report. Indeed, promoting e-learning during this time, very crucial. And on our Facebook page, KBC Channel 1, we have Enos Omondi, who is tuned in. And then Joseph Mbondo, you're also saying you're tuned in to KBC Channel 1 Weekend. And Peter Kimeu tuned in from Machakos, waiting for Family Matters. Thank you. Agura Joffrey, you're also watching. And from Chepsoin, Kericho, you're watching. You're calling yourself Kiebet Keegan. Thank you so much. Also, Mweni Jimmy, keep talking to us on Twitter, on Facebook at KBC Channel 1 News, and at Purity_Museo. The hashtag to use on Twitter is Family Matters KBC. In other news, it was an engagement of a kind as three sisters hailing from Baringo County held a joint ceremony over the weekend. According to the sisters, the decision to conduct the joint ceremony was advised by the current coronavirus pandemic, as well as a commitment to demonstrate and cement the strong bond within their family. Take a look.
Dorcas Kulei, Helen Kulei and Faith Kulei are sisters hailing from Baringo, and whose New Year's resolution included an aspiration to get married before the year came to a close.
Asante. Yes, Asante. Very good. Excellent. Wow. Nice. Yes. Beautiful.
The elder sister was set to hold her engagement ceremony earlier in the year, but due to the coronavirus containment measures put in place by the government, she was forced to push her ceremony to a later date, a situation that was also replicated among the two sisters. After deliberations, the three sisters settled on holding one engagement party. The unique event, which has never been witnessed before in the region, saw hundreds of residents throng the homestead to witness the one-of-a-kind ceremony. Dorcas Kulei revealing that the joint ceremony saw the family cut caused by her.
Sisi ni marafiki, tunapendana sana. Watu wengi huwa wanatuambia tunafanana. Na sisi ni marafiki na tunapendana hivyo, na najua kwamba inamfaa ama ni inamtukuza Mungu sisi kufanya hivi.
Tumesikia kuona sherehe mtu mmoja peke yake zaidi wawili, lakini leo hii tumeona familia tatu zikija pamoja. Tena kaunti mbalimbali, umetoka Bungoma huko, tuko Keio, Elgeyo Marakwet, tuko Baringa. Afadhali kwa sababu tulikuwa tumepanga kwa kila mtoto tarehe yake, mwezi yake, tukaona ya kwamba heri tukutanishe pamoja safari moja ili tumalize zote na hao nene wajumba na hao wasichana, kwa sababu muda wao ilikuwa imetimia na imefika.
Kabartonjo Ward Member of County Assembly Lucas Nkoli lauded the sisters for demonstrating family unity, calling on young people to borrow a leaf from the three sisters.
It is very important if this will continue, kwa sababu sahi wakati wa hii pandemic pesa ni shida, watu kutana ni shida, So muhimu ni kwamba jamii wakuwe na formula kama hii ili to minimize expenses.
Ile sherehe tumetumia kwa hii watoto tatu ni ile ya mtoto moja. So imekata cost kabisa.
Na kuambia mabega peke yake jameni.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wamburu.
Away from Baringo County, learning institutions have often acted as safe havens for children, offering protection to thousands of the vulnerable group who would otherwise be forced into early marriages or face physical and sexual violence. A recent report by the Minister of Labour on violence against children indicates that 1 in 2 children in the country experience either sexual, physical or emotional violence by the time they reach adulthood. And as Mariambo reports, children rights groups are warning that the long stay away from school due to COVID-19 pandemic is presenting a myriad of challenges for children, some of which may be irreversible.
The outbreak of COVID-19 in the country has forced the government to close schools countrywide to protect children from contracting the virus. However, with children spending more time at home, a recently released 2018-2019 Violence Against Children survey by the Ministry of Labour and UNICEF indicates that some children are at a greater risk of violence. Dr. Patricia Lwach is a public and reproductive health expert and was a lead researcher in the survey.
During this COVID period, there are a lot of people who have lost their livelihood. So there could be a lot of children who are going out to help their parents, to seek for livelihood, and during that time they could be violated, or the mere fact that they are contained in the home.
In Kenya, according to the 2018-2019 Violence Against Children National Survey, 1 out of 2 children in the country has experienced some form of violence before the age of 18 years. Physical violence, experienced by both male and female, is most prominent among boys at 50%. Girls more than boys experience sexual violence, with 1 in 6 girls compared to 1 in 15 boys having experienced sexual violence by the age of 18. Perpetrators of violence on children are people known and trusted by the children, including parents and close family members.
They don't imagine that they can actually sexually violate them, and yet they do.
Violence against children is associated with negative health outcomes across their lifetime. Mental health problems including depression and anxiety, high school dropouts, loss of opportunities, risky behaviors like drug abuse, and unwanted pregnancies. Angunjeri Gakoya is a gender-based violence technical advisor at the LVCT Health. She says if urgent action is not taken to protect children, the ramifications are dire.
So if we don't curb it now, if we don't place the emphasis that we need to place in terms of addressing violence against children, for sure we might handle COVID, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when these children are adults, we'll start having the same issues of suicide rates perhaps going up, or substance abuse, and then the blames will start going around. Nobody's connecting it back to this period.
Now, in this particular survey, we found that out of the girls who had sexual violence, 8% of them became pregnant. Now, when a girl becomes pregnant, obviously they'll drop out of school.
Despite laws governing child protection in place, disclosure and reporting among victims is still very low, allowing perpetrators to walk scot-free.
From the perspective of the survivors, who we deal with is they take the cases to their nearest point of contact in terms of security, which is the chief or the police station. Nothing is done about it. So from a survivor's perspective is that that case is not prioritized as it should. So you have the survivor pulling out, not because they want to, but that's a shortfall in their eyes when it comes to implementation of laws and policies.
The Children's UN Body United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, acknowledges the dangers some children face during this time of the pandemic. During the launch of the government's 5-year strategic plan to stop violence against children, UNICEF Kenya representative Maniza Zaman said her wish is to see children across the world protected from harm, calling on member states to robustly implement laws that protect children.
Each one of us, in our own families, in our own communities, have a responsibility to prevent violence against children and to act when we see it. And violence does not discriminate. Children from all social backgrounds and cultures are affected. And right now, With the COVID-19 and its containment measures, we know that this situation is being exacerbated.
Maria Ambo reporting for Channel 1 News.
Global coronavirus cases surged past 25 million according to a Johns Hopkins University's tally as deaths increased to 847,000 on Sunday morning. This comes as India's health ministry announced on Sunday at least 78,761 new infections in 24 hours, setting a new daily record worldwide.
India's health ministry announced on Sunday at least 78,761 new infections in 24 hours, setting a new daily record worldwide. With a population of more than 1.3 billion people, India ranks third with the most number of COVID-19 infections behind the US and Brazil. Meanwhile, Brazil's Ministry of Health has reported at least 758 additional coronavirus fatalities during the last 24 hours, with 41,350 new cases, bringing the death toll to 120,262 and the confirmed cases to over 3.8 million. This as every Italian region reported new coronavirus cases after a record of 99,000 tests turned up another 1,444 cases. Elsewhere, Istanbul has banned indoor weddings, engagement parties and other ceremonies from Monday as coronavirus cases and deaths hit the highest level in Turkey in more than 2 months. And Indonesia has reported its biggest rise in infections for a third successive day, while Ukraine and Myanmar have also registered a record daily rise in coronavirus cases. Mainland China reported 9 new confirmed cases of coronavirus on Saturday, all of them imported, the National Health Commission said on Sunday, meaning there were no locally transmitted infections for a record 14th day straight. South Korea reported its 17th day of triple-digit rise in coronavirus infections as restrictions on on-site dining at restaurants, pubs and bakeries in densely populated Seoul area take effect. More than 25.1 million people around the world have been diagnosed with the coronavirus and 17.5 million people have recovered, according to Johns Hopkins University. For Channel 1 News, I'm Emily K. Bade.
And locally, a family in Garissa County is distraught after one of their members disappeared on the eve of International Day of Victims of Enforced Disappearance. According to the family, the father of 2 was allegedly abducted by 3 men aboard a Probox vehicle on Saturday afternoon while on his way to Sambir, Fafi sub-county, where he normally picks camel milk for sale in Garissa County. Details of this and other highlights in the county news roundup.
A somber mood engulfed a village in Garissa County following the disappearance of a middle-aged man on the eve of the International Day of Enforced Disappearance. Irshad Adhan Abdullahi was allegedly abducted on Saturday at 4 p.m. while on his way to Sambir, Fafi sub-county, where he picks milk for sale in Garissa County. According to his brother Siate Jir, who was with him during the abduction, 3 men who were in a Toyota Probox registration number KAT002Q abruptly stopped them and immediately tied his brother and bundled him into the vehicle.
Nilipopeleka police station hiyo gari registration number, wamesema hiyo gari hayuko, hiyo number ni fake. Tumeshindwa serikali gani anachukua gari number fake. Sijui. Sasa sisi ni kama ni watu wa Kenyans, tunataka ndugu yangu irudi shule, hata kama wameua warudishe, walete meti yao.
Elsewhere, a Sunday service at African Inland Church in Githurai, Kiambu County was disrupted after worshippers protested what they termed as unprocedural dethronement of the oppressed. The faithful claim that the move is part of a wider plot to grab a parcel of land belonging to the church.
Ilifanywa na chairman wa DCC. Na alipofanya hiyo mabadiliko, ni mabadiliko kanisa was not aware. Wakasimamisha LCC ambao ni elders wa hii kanisa, na walipowasimamisha wakalete wao wenye waliwachagua vile waliwachagua hatujui.
In Nyandera County, Governor Francis Kimemia has directed the Department of Lands, Housing, Physical Planning and Urban Development to hasten issuance of title deeds across the region. This even as he directed the Lands Department to collaborate with the State Department of Lands to ensure digitization of all county land records as well as gazettement of landowners in all Kalau.
The second release of 742 plots in our Kalau town that will be issued out to the undisputed owners of these plots, and so that they can be able to implement the development activities on these plots. We shall give them 2 years to have done what they're supposed to do, and so that this country can grow.
Meanwhile, the government is set to issue 78,000 title deeds under the Rapid Result Initiative aimed at speeding up the issuance of land ownership documents in the coast region. Land's Chief Administrative Secretary Gideon Mungaro revealed that 37,000 titles will be issued in Taita Taveta, 13,000 in Kwale, whilst quarters in Kilifi will receive 21,000 title deeds, with residents of Mombasa receiving 3,800 titles. Over 4,000 titles will also be issued in Lamu.
Hii ni kuonyesha vile serikali imetilia maanani masuala ya pwani ili kumaliza mambo ya uskota. Pengine kumaliza uskota hatuwezi kusema utamalizika na siku moja. Nataka kuhakikishia kwamba kila mikakati serikali inafanya ya kuhakikisha kwamba uskota huu tunaumaliza.
Finally, a tenancy row pitting members of the Muslim community living in Kisumu County and a prominent businessman is threatening to escalate into a full-blown dispute. The group is accusing the businessman of breaching a tenancy agreement by subleasing the business premise without their consent.
Tuko na ushahidi. Hii karatasi ambayo nimebeba, kuna lawyer ambaye yuko hapa juu. Yeye Kopana alimwambia ya kuwa hii ni nyumba yake. Kopana alimwambia huyo lawyer ya kuwa hii ni nini? Ni nyumba yake. Ni mali yake. Lakini ajue ya kuwa wenye mali wamerudi.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Imani ni bayana ya mambo yanayotarajiwa, unayaita mambo yasiyokuwepo kama yalipo. Imani ni kuchukua umbo la kitu unachokitamania, ima kwa mbali au kwa karibu. Lakini ijapo katika mambo ya kuhatikia, basi unajibunia mambo hayo mwenyewe. Lingine muhimu ni kuwa iwapo hauipendi barabara unayoitembelea, basi
kupata imani yako bonyeza *811 *815 #. Bonyeza *811 *815 #.
Gear up and maintain a healthy, fit and active lifestyle right there at home by keeping up with Gear Up on Channel 1, 5:30 to 6 a.m. Monday to Saturday. Gear up every day for every moment, and remember to stay home and keep safe.
And thank you so much for staying with us. We're going to have sports news and then family matters tonight. We speak with Makueni County Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana on the county's preparedness and response. It already has more than 100 cases of COVID-19, and the governor says that most of the cases were reported during that period, from July 6th, when the movement or the restrictions of movement from Nairobi, Mandera and Mombasa County were lifted. So do talk to us and ask a few questions. The professor will be answering them at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Let's first get the sport. And Football Kenya Federation National Executive Committee aspirants for the upcoming elections, as well as the presidential aspirants, are tomorrow expected to present their nomination papers to FKF's Electoral Board. The national elections have been slated for October 17th, while those at the county level being held on September 19th.
Following the completion of the verification of aspirants seeking election at the county level, as well as the publishing of the final list of delegates eligible to vote in the upcoming FKF elections, the Electoral Board will tomorrow receive nomination papers from candidates seeking to be elected to the National Executive Committee. Presidential aspirants are also expected to present their documents ahead of the 19th October elections. Former Federation boss Sam Nyamoya, Nicholas Musonye and Herbert Mochiro are among the candidates hopeful of unseating incumbent Nick Mwendo come October, with the latter seeking a second four-year term. The previous two exercises were nullified by the Sports Disputes Tribunal (SDT) in December and in March this year, with SDT Chairman John Ohaga ruling that the rules of engagement were flouted in both occasions. However, the FKF Electoral Court, which had been the contentious issue, will remain in force.
Volleyball club will play Museo next weekend in the final of the second edition of the Play a Ball for a Ball volleyball tournament at the Cabernet Stadium in Baringo County. The two teams will meet in the final after dispatching their respective opponents in the semi-finals played today at the same venue.
The second edition of the Play a Ball for a Ball volleyball tournament attracted a total of 6 teams, 3 more than the first edition held 3 weeks ago in Baringo County. Orbit Volleyball Club will play Museo in the final of the tournament next weekend, with the winner walking away with the ball and the net. Orbit secured a finals place after beating Moi Timoyo 3-1 to book their place in the final, while their opponents Museo defeated Rock in 3 straight sets in the other semi-final. The aim of the tournament is to support upcoming teams with playing equipment in an effort to develop volleyball from the grassroots in the area.
The driving force behind this initiative is that most of these teams around here or on the grassroots do not have basic equipment. So at the end of the day, they lack training equipment. And number 2, the moment the ball is donated to them, they don't have that ownership. But the moment they fight for it in a tournament, all of them are going to own it and take good care of it and use it for the purpose it was intended for. So there's nothing for free now. All the team members as a are going to fight for it as a team.
In addition to the lack of equipment, the teams are also calling on the county government to invest in sports infrastructure in Baringo County to assist youths explore their talents.
Changamoto ambayo tuko naye, tunakosa resources kama vile mipira, net na pia condition ya uwanja. County kidogo ya Baringo ingeweza kutusaidia ili tuweze kupata uwanja mingi. Ukiangalia kama hapa Cabernet Baringo Central tuko na uwanja chache sana. Kama watu wa Multimoa, Museo wanakuja hapa. So kama tungekuwa na uwanja mingi, tungekuwa tunaenda mpaka huko ili tunaenda kupea visit, tunacheza na wao.
Changamoto ambayo tunaface kama Multimoa ni resources kama mpira, net, na tungomba wahisani wajitokeze ili watusaidie tupate hizo net na mpira.
The tournament is yet to attract a ladies team.
And Lionel Messi has failed to report for coronavirus testing at Barcelona's training complex as he continues his battle to leave the club. Messi's decision not to attend the testing exercise today means he will be unable to participate in Ronald Koeman's first training session as Barcelona's new head coach tomorrow afternoon.
Barcelona captain Lionel Messi has continued to pursue a move away from the Nou Camp as he failed to report for a coronavirus testing session at Barcelona's training complex. It is understood the 33-year-old warned the club in advance that he was not going to be present. Messi has told Barcelona he wants to leave this summer and has requested a meeting with the board to find a resolution. Messi wants to exercise a clause in his contract that allows him to leave the club for free at the end of each season, but Barcelona are adamant that the clause in Messi's deal has expired and that the only way he will be allowed to leave the Nou Camp is if a buyer pays 700 million euros release clause. Meanwhile, Arsenal coach Mikel Arteta remains positive of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's future at the club. Aubameyang's excellent 20-yard strike on Saturday made him only the second Ghana's player to score 5 Wembley goals after Alexis Sanchez.
The sport for tonight. Thank you for keeping us company. Of course, not the end of the broadcast, because Family Matters is now up next, and a lot of feedback regarding Makueni County COVID-19 preparedness, and people watching actually from Makueni County and ready to hear what their governor has to say. And there's someone asking, has Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana distributed enough PPEs to the healthcare workers? Will be telling us his protection strategy for the frontline healthcare workers. And then Dennis Shark is saying, you're eager for the interview with Makueni Governor Professor Kibwana. Thank you so much. And then there's someone at Sheyman, you're saying, ask him how he stands out from others. Okay, he'll be telling us that as well. And then Tasha, you're saying, this is a show I'm not going to miss. Thank you so much. You're not going to miss this show because Makueni County says, or the county boss says, they have already surpassed the 300 isolation bed capacity. And of course, despite the easing of restrictions that are coming with increased cases of COVID-19, he's saying on the flip side, a lot of economic activities now going on at these border counties. So tonight we host Professor Kivutha Kibwana, Makueni County Governor, on the COVID-19 response and of course preparedness. Do catch that interview coming up shortly. Baron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Do enjoy the program and God bless.
Good evening, Sunday it is. I hope you're well. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Thank you for your time. Tonight, temperatures are going down across the country, and these will mainly affect Narok, Kericho, and Kisii towns, where temperatures are going as low as 10 degrees Celsius. Most parts of the country have been covered with partly cloudy conditions, save for a few areas in the Lake Basin region, western parts of the country, and the northwestern parts of the country, where there are scattered wet conditions. Tomorrow in the capital, we are working to a sunny day, sunny conditions that will also prevail in counties around the region, and these will also include Machakos, Makindu, Voi. Similar weather conditions will also prevail in counties over the northeastern parts of the country. The northwestern parts of the country will mainly experience sunny conditions, but there is a possibility of wet conditions over a few places, and these will mainly be along the border of Kenya and South Sudan. The Lake Basin region will mainly experience sunny conditions, but there will be rains over a few places, and especially around the lake. This will later on give way to sunny intervals. Western parts of the country, Kakamega, Bungoma, Kisii will experience sunny intervals during the morning hours, but this will change during the afternoon hours. We'll see an increase of wet conditions over the western parts of the country. This will be limited to Kisii, Kakamega, Kitale, Bungoma, and Eldoret. The northern parts of the country will continue to experience sunny conditions. The coastal strip will also experience sunny conditions during the afternoon hours. And after a while, Meru and Nyeri counties will experience sunny conditions the whole day. Indeed, we are coming to a close of the month of August. Just as told by the weather experts that as we close the month, warmer conditions will dominate most parts of the country, including the capital. Tomorrow, sunny conditions will prevail. Temperatures in Mandera have slightly gone down. We're expecting highs of 36 degrees Celsius. Warmer conditions will dominate the capital. Highs of 26 and lows of 13 degrees Celsius. And for you in Marsabit, expect highs of 28 degrees Celsius. That is how weather is shaping up in the home country. Up next is the international forecast. Do have a good night and a blessed day ahead.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Family Matters. My name is Purity Museo. The cases of coronavirus in the country continues to surge, and the country or the peak is yet to be arrived at, according to what health officials are saying. All the 47 counties have recorded at least a case of COVID-19. And as counties face the litmus test of controlling the fast spread of this virus, what is the capacity of counties? Makueni County has already recorded over 100 cases of COVID-19, and cases could keep rising because of the eased movement of restrictions by President Uhuru Kenyatta in July this year. Tonight, we speak with Professor Kivutha Kibwana, who is the Makueni County Governor, to bring us to speed on what the county is doing, the economic impact of this devastating virus, and how the county government is cushioning especially the most vulnerable into the community. Help me now welcome our guest tonight, who is Makueni County Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana. Thank you so much, sir, for making time for us. We appreciate your time and having us here.
Thank you very much. I am really happy to visit with you and to talk to Kenyans.
All right, and maybe I could ask you how the pandemic, the restrictions that have been imposed, we have staying at home, wearing of mask, and washing of hand, sanitizing. How has this changed your lifestyle as a person?
As a person, of course, this is a new culture. This is what is being called a new normal, when you do things differently. And when you also realize things that you thought were not possible are possible. Like, we didn't think that you can do meetings online. We always believed in physical meetings. But now we even save a lot of money because we don't have to do physical meetings, go all over the place, or like go to Nairobi, go to Mombasa. We can meet many of us virtually. And that's, a new way. These days, you can't quite easily determine from one's facial expressions what they are thinking, because as you talk to somebody, you usually look at the face to determine, their mood, what you're talking to them about, how are they receiving it, and all that. So now you have to do a bit of guesswork. And even when people laugh, unless you just look at the eyes, you can't even quite understand they're smiling and all that kind of stuff. And of course, we're not used to washing hands all the time, sanitizing all the time, keeping social distance, because we like to hug, we like to greet, and now we are not doing those things. And sometimes you're just stretching your hand to greet, and you remember you are not supposed to do that. So in a way, we are changing our cultures, and it's really a new way of living.
And the new way of living has affected so many people, especially mentally. People have to stay at home, and therefore cases of vices such as domestic violence have been on the rise. Have these vices affected people in Makueni County?
That is true. There is a lot of mental stress because, unfortunately, people and families, for that matter, were not used to staying together. Like men, we come to the house, late. We want to stay in the house briefly. But now, when there is a curfew and you have to go home early, when you have to stay with your family, some of the men find that intolerable. And unfortunately, even within Makueni, we have had episodes of men attacking their wives, slashing even their hands. That has happened. We have had cases of family members abusing young girls, which is quite regrettable. So this proximity, which is seemingly abnormal, many people have not received it as a gift from God even, so that there is more intimacy, social, moral intimacy within the family. People know each other. They are happy being together. So we have a department of counseling. I think perhaps the only department of social support in the country. And they have really received very many cases, because in each of our sub-counties we have counselors, and they're receiving very many cases of people who need to be helped. And even the issues of drinking, and even when the bars are closed, people hide and Some, of course, buy from wines and spirits. So we are witnessing a problem of mental health. And in a way, I think this tells me that within our country, we need to accept that mental problem is just a disease like any other. And we should have counseling units, a counseling department throughout the country, not just for HIV/AIDS, but for usual mental health problems, including addictions, drugs, alcohol, and so on. And indeed, we thought within our hospital, the referral hospital, Makueni Referral Hospital, we thought that we should have a gender-based unit so that we receive both men and women who are abused and they are treated in privacy. We even developed a safe house where when somebody can't tolerate what is happening at home, they can go there. It's a private place. We don't say where it is. They can go there and then they can rest. They can be talked to by a counselor.
Would you attribute these efforts by the county government, especially to take care of the mental stress among people that is being attributed to the pandemic, to this report by Infotrack that portrayed that people in Makueni County are the happiest?
Well, I mean, that caught us by surprise because you would expect during COVID, people wouldn't really be happy. But of course, it's comparative. And in 2015, we were supposed to be number 43 out of 47. So we did very poorly. And during those days, there was a lot of stress because there wasn't agreement between the county executive and the county assembly. And we had about 3 years, really, of acrimonious engagement between those two wings of county government, and much was not happening, so to speak. But this time around, it's possible that people are happy even in difficult circumstances because we really appreciate our citizenry. We give them the confidence that in Makueni they are sovereign, they are in charge of their affairs because they do their budgets. There are committees of the people supervising each project. You can't get paid if that committee doesn't say you have done well. Even as professional people say, you know, you have done well. There are committees from the village of the people themselves responsible for their development, even with the development partners like NGOs and so on. So in a way, because we have this public participation, they ask us for things like they ask us for universal health care. And we said, okay, it can be done, 500 shillings per household per year to get treatment, whether it's an operation, it's inpatient treatment, you get your medicines. Apart from if you are in ICU, then that's subsidized. Dialysis, that is also subsidized. But generally, people receiving treatment, even for COVID, we don't charge. So it is possible because of the way in which we are approaching government and citizens feeling included and feeling it's their government. Generally, the leaders try to be servants. I think that could account for why they could be happy. Of course, we want them to be happy.
We want them to be happy. And do you think as a governor this should be duplicated in the entire country? Because there were counties that were listed bottom as far as having their people stay happy, or what exactly do you feel where the gap is in terms of the leadership of this country?
Well, I think we as leaders are actually supposed to be servants. And in the Bible, it is said those the little ones are actually the greatest, like children, people who really don't take grudges, people really who are, you know, you send a child and the child goes. You send the child again and the child goes. Of course, you don't abuse them by making them do child labor. But that's the spirit of leadership, that people are ready to be sent, they are ready to serve. And that is really what should happen at the national level, at the county level, at any sector of leadership, so to speak. And I think devolution is getting us there because now there are 48 governments, the 47 counties and the one national government, and there's a multiplicity of leadership. And so we should work together to make our counties and country better, our people, happier, because they're getting service delivery of all manner, and it's easy, and there isn't, corruption, there is integrity. So that is really what should happen. And I think, although it is said that counties do badly and, we are accused of all manner of things, my experience as the chief whip of the Council of Governors now, my experience is the evolution these 8 or so years has really changed the face of Kenya. And if there was more cooperation between the national and county governments, between senators, MPs on the one side, and governors, MCAs on the other side, I think our country would really go forward. The evolution is really a major plus for us. And even when I have said I will be a presidential candidate 2022, it is because I know, having the experience of Makueni, I can really replicate the fruits of devolution to the entire country.
The entire country. Let's talk about universal health coverage. We are on the road to implementation of UHC in the country, and even before the coronavirus, that was the agenda, and it's part of the Big Four agenda by President Uhuru Kenyatta. You have been on record. Actually, you launched one of the biggest mother and child facility. How would you rate or rank the healthcare system in the country, and are we headed in the right direction? Are counties doing what they ought to do to just help the head of state in achieving this agenda?
I think one of the areas of a lot of improvement in our country under devolution is the health sector. Because there were counties where there was no theatre, where women were dying if a cesarean was necessary and they couldn't be taken to the nearest facility, which could be very far away. And particularly in northeastern Kenya, this used to happen a lot, some parts of the Coast Province, even eastern. But when now there was money to the counties, one of the first things that most of the counties did was to expand health facilities. Like Makueni, we found 109 health facilities. Today, there are 235. We used to buy medicines for 2012 for about 100 million shillings. Now we can do 300 million shillings. The staff, the doctors, the nurses, the clinical officers, all those staff, we have more or less doubled those members of staff. So I think when you rate the health sector before devolution and after devolution, there's been a revolution. And if anybody says to the contrary, it is just because they want to put counties down. So I think this partnership, like even during the this COVID-19 pandemic, actually part of the reason why it has not been as fierce in Kenya as the other parts of Africa, like maybe South Africa, North Africa, is because our system of the rural health sector is considerably robust. Therefore, I would say without hesitation that the health sector has been a very improved sector, and with more resource flow to the counties for the health sector, for other sectors, according to the functions that we have, I believe that devolution will radically change Kenya.
Mm-hmm. And because you said compared to before devolution and after devolution, the healthcare system has changed, but your opinion on whether this pandemic has found us unprepared, or would you say at some point the country was prepared in terms of the healthcare system?
The country could not have been prepared specifically for COVID-19 because it's a new disease. Just like Ebola. When Ebola happened in West Africa, it was quite challenging. So when coronavirus happened in the world, Africa was not ready. We were not ready, so to speak. Except that we were lucky because it started in China, it started in Europe, and that's where we learned what the disease is, so that by the time it arrives here, we are able to have some advanced knowledge of how to deal with it. And as a result, in Africa and in Kenya in particular, we haven't had the problems that have occurred elsewhere, particularly because of the deaths and the health sector being overwhelmed.
Let's talk about Makueni County. The head of state directed all counties to have at least a 300 isolation bed capacity. Have you achieved that? And number two, you mentioned we are yet to get to the peak. In case the cases surge beyond the between 90 and 100 that Makueni County has, to even 1,000, are there plans to expand your capacity to accommodate new cases?
Yes, we, as I said before, we have a facility for critical care in the referral hospital, our main hospital. And as of now, that capacity is taking 12 people. If we have 12 critically ill people, they'll be taken care there, Makueni COVID unit. We are receiving about 20 ICU capacity from the national government. So we will expand our capacity. We manufacture oxygen, and oxygen is very critical for managing COVID patients when they become critical. So there we don't have really a major problem, because we even transport it to other hospitals within the county from the place of manufacture, that is Makueni referral hospital. There's something that we did which apart from at a place called Makindu, making sure that there are over 300 beds, and that's when really most of the treatment now is taking place. We have also developed our home-based care system, so that there are protocols. The public health people know these protocols, and we have gotten community people to be part of this effort of combating COVID-19. We trained 4,240 community health workers who have been doing other community things, but now we brought them on board again to train them in terms of COVID-19, the protocols and so on. We even went further, and because we have a community government system, we have national government, we have county government, and we have community government here, or people's government. We trained about 46,000 people who are leaders, elected leaders by the communities themselves from the village level, so that each one of those, plus the community health workers, each one of them, because they are roughly now 50,000, can be in charge of 5 households, so that they can go there, they can see whether they are following the protocols, they can, if somebody has diabetes and they are old and they have high blood pressure, they can know who is vulnerable. They look at also the economic situation of the people. So we, that is like an innovation, and that is why our home-based care, we think that that's where, if we had that upsurge you talked about, most of the people would be asked to remain at home and be seen from home. And if now a case deteriorates, that is when we would take it to these facilities. But having said that, the Makindu facility, we do it with KMTC. And come January, all the counties which are partnering with KMTC to have an isolation facility, the kids will come back to school. And if they come back to school, then you won't have that space. So we're also planning to build another facility, so that by January, if KMTC takes over, their facility. We just withdraw our beds, our equipment, and we put it in a new place because it's not clear to anybody when COVID-19 will cease.
As we wind up the economic impact of COVID-19 shortly, how hard has Makueni County been hit, and are there plans to cushion, especially the people who've lost their livelihoods here?
That's a big question. As Council of Governors, we are working with the KIPRA to come up with a post-economic recovery, post-COVID-19 economic recovery system. But even within Makueni, like working with young people, we are trying to make sure that there is a little, there are some opportunities for young people and vulnerable people, senior citizens, persons with disability. Our Department of Gender has been very active in terms of cushioning those people. We have deliberately decided that every project that we have, we will incorporate some young people in terms of apprentices, so that they are learning and they are earning some little money. We also have an internship program for also young people. We have a fund we call Tedeka Fund, where we give people loans at 3%, just administrative cost. We are trying to revamp this loan so that it can help people's businesses have gone to the rocks, to speak. Of course, we are getting a challenge in that loan system because people we had loaned are telling us that their businesses have more or less collapsed. They can't pay, and so we are also dealing with that. But even with that difficulty, we are saying still we must encourage our people. We want to use the 30% of procurement to make sure that women, youth, persons with disability, other vulnerable, get some business, and it is the money. When the money comes into circulation in the county, that helps everybody. Some countries abroad, like USA, they give each household certain monies. If people are out of employment, they give each household, a certain amount of money. In our situation, of course, that is not something that is easy, although we sat down in cabinet and we said we want to explore a system where there is an employment guarantee situation like exists in India. In India, there is a law they call Mahatma Gandhi Employment Guarantee Act, where every vulnerable person, somebody without employment, like young people, anybody, you name them, are guaranteed 100 days of some employment. Just like the kazi mtaani, or what in Makueni we're also calling kazi ajira kwa vijana, so that they are guaranteed some employment. But for that to happen, it means you must minimize corruption, you must do away with wastage, so that there is residual money which will be invested, in terms of helping and cushioning one's citizenry.
That brings us to the end of our show. Your parting shot to the people of Makueni and Kenyans at large. Let us really take COVID seriously. It's not a joke. It's life-threatening. People, have died. People will die. This is not a threat. And these simple things that we are told to do, like wearing of mask, they really help a lot. The hand washing, we need to mobilize, of course, the water and the soap and so on. Even people are making soap. People are even making masks, like polytechnics. So let us really protect ourselves. And, although we cannot tell our people in Nairobi, Mombasa, in the cities where there is an upsurge, we cannot tell them not to come home. When they come home, let them, particularly protect the older people so that we don't endanger. Because our experience, the people who are dying are older, and also young people, of course, will die and are dying in other situations. But we have seen that since there was the reopening, older people who are
infected, maybe by relatives who are coming from somewhere else, do not, have a major problem. So my message is, let us take care of each other. Let us be our brothers and sisters.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
And I thank you very much for this interview. Asante.
All right. Okay. And that brings us to the end of our show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. That has been Makueni County Governor Professor Kivutha Kibwana on the county's preparedness in regard to the COVID-19 response. Thank you once again for your time. Wash your hands, sanitize, put on the mask, and stay at home where you can. I'm Purity Museo. Do enjoy the rest of our programming, and God bless.
Nawasalimu katika jina la Yesu Kristo. Kwa majina naitwa Reverend Thomas Esatia, na hudumu katika kanisa la Abundant Grace of Jesus Ministry pale Kibera. Niko hapa kwa ajili Mungu amenituma ili nikaweze kukuletea neno ambalo litakusaidia maisha yako. Maandiko inasema katika kitabu cha Ufunuo wa Yohana mlango ni 5 kuanzia penyewe, na nitasoma kwa lugha ya Kiingereza. Inasema hivi: Then I saw in the right hand of who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll? But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept, because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Verse 5, it says, Then one of the elders said to me, Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals. Mtazamaji, niko hapa kuambia hivi ya kwamba kuna mambo yale ambayo kuna uwezekano yamekushinda. Huyawezi. Umejaribu kungangana nayo lakini yamekushinda. Ama kuna uwezekano, kuna siri ambazo ziko katika maishani mwako na uzielewi. Maandiko inasema kwamba kulipatikana mmoja ambaye anaweza. Kuna uwezekano umejaribu watu wengi wakusaidia lakini haijawezekana. Kuna uwezekano umejaribu kutembelea hata watu wakuambie hali ya maisha yako vile ilivyo, lakini haijawezekana. Maandiko inasema kwamba kuna